Okay, looks like we have both counsel connected. We'll go on the record in Casper versus Casper. This is file number 2419733. If I could have both counsel put your appearances on.
Yes, thank you, Honor. Jennifer Zalesnik appearing on behalf of the plaintiff, Rebecca Casper.
Good afternoon again, Judge Elliott Blumberg on behalf of Mr. Casper, who is appearing via Zoom from my office.
Okay, thank you. This is set as a status conference today. Just looking through the file, the court had previously ordered mediation, which I think was delayed due to Ms. Casper having new counsel. So just kind of want to get an idea of where the parties are at, if you've been able to have any discussions and what both of you want to see going forward for scheduling. Ms. Zalesnik on behalf of plaintiff.
Thank you. Yes, Your Honor. I do not believe that mediation was delayed on part of Ms. Casper retaining alternative counsel. In fact, when I was retained as counsel, it took me a little bit to get the complete file, but once I was able to get the complete file, in reviewing that, I noticed that Mr. Blumberg had not completed and served the response to the discovery request that was served in September by Ms. Casper's former counsel. I have since, unfortunately, found it necessary to file a motion to compel. That is scheduled to be heard before you on February 18th. I'm not sure if the court's received that yet. The biggest delay is just that Mr. Blumberg hasn't provided documents necessary for us to even negotiate any type of settlement, whether it be between counsel or at mediation. So I'm just I'm asking for attorney fees because I put quite a bit of effort to communicate with Mr. Blumberg about the discovery responses. And there is nothing in that discovery request that is overburdensome. And so we're asking for values and documents to verify the values. And that should be like produced in, I would say, less than 24 hours because it is causing a delay. And I mean, if the court is inclined to have my motion hearing, I'm fine, but I really need that in order to proceed forward with mediation. And also, we were going to have mediation scheduled February 8th, but Mr. Blumberg did not want to proceed with mediation on February 8th because no, I'm sorry, it was before then. It was before our hearing. I can look back, but I did communicate with the mediator and there were some dates of it, and I think it was February 8th, but Mr. Blumberg did not want to proceed with mediation on that date. And I was like, it was because he was saying that we can't resolve the child related issues. And I really don't know why he didn't want to proceed with mediation, but I was inclined to proceed with mediation with even limited documents because I just need to get verifications of amounts. And I think those are things that could certainly be produced during a mediation.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blumberg.
You know, Judge, I'm sitting here listening to this person make these statements to the court today that are baseless, that are wrong, and I take offense to it. I mean, the fact of the matter is the major asset of this marriage is the marital home that needs to be appraised. I asked predecessor counsel, would her client be willing to split the cost of an appraisal? The answer is no. I've had no communications with Ms. Zalesnik about this matter. Any discovery that's been sent will be answered. If she needs to file a motion to compel rather than calling me and asking me when we can have the answers, you know, that's how she wants to operate. But I refuse to sit here and listen to these misrepresentations. I've been in front of you all day today, and I've never had another attorney speak like this woman has done. I take offense to that. I want the court to know that.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm happy to show my emails where I've tried to communicate with Mr. Blumberg. I don't want to go back and forth like toddlers in the sandbox, but good Lord, Judge, I have tried to work this out with Mr. Blumberg to no avail, which necessitated me filing this motion I very rarely file motions to compel. Not very many times. But I can show you but I don't know that this is the appropriate forum. I think that the appropriate forum, number one, for my motion to compel is the February 18th hearing. What I'm telling you is not baseless, and it's inappropriate for Mr. Blumberg to state that. But I am happy to share my screen with you and go through the countless emails that I've had with Mr. Blumberg, trying to get mediation scheduled, trying to get the discovery response, all of the communication that I've had with Mr. Blumberg thus far regarding the discovery request and the response has been attached as exhibits to my motion. So you will see my efforts.
Let's deal with it at the motion, okay? This is a status conference.
He asked why there's a delay. And you said you haven't spoken to me about mediation, which is false, Mr. Blumberg.
What I said was mediation would not be productive without an appraisal of the marital home. And your client and you have refused to participate in the expense of that.
You've never even talked to me about it.
Sure. Okay. Anything else we need to talk about, Judge?
All right. I think what we should do is go forward. Ms. Zlesnik, you already have that noticed up for hearing and it's on the docket.
Yes, Your Honor, on February 18th.
Okay.
At 10:45 a.m.
Okay, so let's go forward with that motion. Let's see what the result of that is. It sounds like that's information that would need to be disclosed if it hasn't been, and if it's appropriate for purposes of mediation and for that to be successful. So let's go forward with the hearing. I'll set this for another status conference on the same date as the hearing on the motion to compel. And I'll just ask counsel in the meantime to try and have some discussions that are a little less rancorous so that we can move forward with the case. And if not, then we'll have a ruling on the motion on the 18th and we'll go forward from there. So that's all for today. And we'll counsel.
Judge, are you going to put a deadline on mediation? I mean, I really would like to get a deadline on mediation if there is a possible way.
We'll address that at the motion hearing, because if you're saying that you need those documents to be able to go forward with mediation, then I think I need to rule on the motion to compel, because if I rule in favor of Mr. Blumberg on that, then that may affect the deadline for mediation, and if I rule in favor of you, that may affect it as well. So I think we need to get that taken care of, and on that date, depending on which way the court rules, we'll set a deadline for mediation.
Judge, can we address the issue of the appraisal of the marital home? Or is that for another day?
Well, I mean, if you guys are either going to agree to split it or you're not, and if you're not, then I suspect it would have to be the subject of a motion, or one party pays for it and asks for half of it as part of the judgment. I think, you know, absent some other circumstances, I think the default position is the parties would split the cost of it. I don't see why they wouldn't. Maybe there's a good reason why they shouldn't split the cost of it. And again, I think that would have to be the subject of a motion.
Well, I don't know that it's the position of my client not to split the motion, but she is covering 100% of the costs of the house at this point in time per that order that was entered in the court prior to me being involved. But I don't know that she has the financials in order to do that, but I can certainly check with her. This is the first time that Mr. Blumberg's ever mentioned splitting the cost of the appraisal.
Okay.
I don't even know who he's wanting to use, but I think an appraisal needs to be done so that we get a current value.
Okay. So again, I mean, these are things that normally counsel can work out.
Yeah.
I would ask you again, in the spirit of some cooperation, try to get past this hearing and work together. If you can't, then we'll have to have more motion hearings in front of the court to have the court order how those things will happen. So either way, none of it's noticed up for hearing today. Mr. Blumberg's right. It's supposed to be a status conference. I anticipated just setting some dates. So that's what we'll do. We'll go forward with the motion hearing on the 18th. The court will set a mediation deadline on the 18th. If any other motions are filed and notice for hearing between now and then, we'll address those on the 18th. Otherwise, they'll have to be set for hearing on a different date if there are matters that council can't agree on.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Judge.
thank you.